All right.
Here we go.
Welcome back to another episode of the Merge Feast. I am Blake, and Logan and Brandon are here with me. What's going on, guys?
What's up?
What's up?
Well, what do we have? 2 more weeks until the season finale? Is that officially the start date?
Nope, not the season finale.
Season
You're
premiere.
ready. You're ready for it to end, huh?
Yep. That's the beginning of the end.
Deep.
Oof.
Yeah, season premiere. Sorry.
I believe so. Is it 2 or is it 3 weeks?
I'll tell you here in about 3 seconds. February 26th, 2025. So a
So
little over a month.
about 4 weeks, yeah.
Okay. All right. Wow. We've got a little more time than I expected. So, well, yeah, we'll just kind of hop into it. I don't know that we have a ton today, but as the three of us were kind of talking outside of the podcast, just kind of dreaming about season 50, because we're hearing rumors of them kind of building the cast already. And so just kind of dreaming about what contestants in our perfect season we would want to be on season 50. And so um, I I mean, I think it'd be awesome if we all just kind of threw out some names and almost like pick our own tribes, I guess. Um, I think that's how you were explaining it, Brandon.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I want to do. I think this summer is when they're going to be shooting season 50. If because I believe this time next year season 50 is going to air. So they'll be doing that this summer, so we'll know the cast somewhat soon, I think. But yeah, I thought it'd be fun to each just pick some players throughout all 47 seasons or 47 seasons that we've seen and kind of put together 3 dream teams.
Does that, I guess that does make sense that it would be next spring. Jeez, that's crazy. Yeah. Okay. 3 guys, 3 girls each. Is that what we're doing?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Um, Logan, you want to kick us off?
Yeah, how do we want to do this? Do you want us to go through all 6? Do we want to do a couple, kind of switch it up, or how are we want to do that?
Let's just round robin.
So, one at a time?
Yep.
All right. I'm gonna go for my first one with a girl, and I'm gonna go with Julie Alley, Mama Julie from season 45. She was the fifth place, or she got fifth place in the season. Was voted out right before kind of the ending there, and I think she was one that could have very easily won, especially with the way the jury viewed her, being kind of that mama figure. Was a great player, and I didn't realize it, but as I was kind of looking at past players and all, if she would have won that season, she would have been the oldest female winner in Survivor history. So that was something I was like, that would be cool to see her come back and see if she could get a win and kind of get that marked in the books. But Julie Alley from season 45 would be my first pick.
I like that. Really solid pick. I'll go next, Blake. So my first pick is from the new era as well. It's actually from the same season as Julie. I'm picking the winner of season 45. Um, Arguably the best winner of the new era. I'm picking D. Um, Picking somebody that formed a majority alliance and was able to keep it throughout the entirety of the game. Um, was completely dominant and clearly the best player of her season and possibly of the new era. So I can't think of a better person to kick off my list with.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Well, my first one will also be a female, and we'll just stick with season 45. I'm going to go with Emily. Um, from how she completely turned her game around and ended up being one of our favorites. It's hard to root against her, and I I wish that she got further than she did in her season. So yeah, I would love to see her play again.
I like it. For my second pick, I'll go with a guy. I am going to go kind of old school. Well, not kind of old school, definitely old school. And early on, I'm going to go with Yul. Played on Cook Islands, and he was actually the winner of that season. And I also believe he played on Winners at War, if I'm not mistaken. But Yule was pretty dominant and very. I think he had a great social game, somewhat strategic, fairly strong, athletic. But his social game and thinking of how the game's played and who he's aligning with and all um, was a lot of fun to watch. So, no, it's kind of from a while ago, but I think Yule would be a really cool one to come back.
I am sticking with the women. For my next pick, I'm going way back. I'm gonna go all the way back to season 4 of Survivor Marquesas, and I'm picking the winner of that season. I'm picking Vesepia, and a couple of reasons. First reason, um, she was somebody that a lot of people wanted to see on Survivor 40, Winners at War, and she didn't obviously get picked. Um, but her game was a just very low profile, under the radar game. A lot of her game was just being observant of what the contestants were doing. If you remember her, back when they did luxury items, her luxury item was a journal, and she was just taking notes of everything that was happening in the game. And that was a huge thing that propelled her forward and ultimately helped her win the game of Survivor. So it's been a long time since she's played. She only got to play once. I'd love to see, what 20 years later she could do in a completely different version of Survivor than what she played.
I'm gonna go with a guy. Going old school, and I'm gonna go with Malcolm. So, like one of the most memorable players that I think are out there, and just a fan favorite all the way around. Good strategically, good competitively, and yeah.
For my next one, I'm gonna hop back over to the females. Going old school again, and it would be Stephanie LaGrossa. Stephanie has actually played 3 times before, but the second time, so the second time she was in the game, she actually went all the way to the end, ended up getting second, and only got 1 vote. I think she deserved a little bit more there. I think she played a great game, and she's just somebody that plays with her whole heart, tough, athletic, doing everything that she can. And why I say whenever she had 3 seasons, the third time she was in the game, she was voted out second. So she wasn't in that season for very long, so didn't have a ton of opportunities there. But I just really enjoyed the way she played the game and think that she could come back and do really well.
All right. I'm going to go with a guy this time. I'm going to season 39, Island of the Idols. And I'm picking Dean, DK Chillin, if you remember him. This is kind of a weird pick. I know. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, why would you pick him? Nobody wants to see him again. But I remember watching him. Number one, he was entertaining. And two, it felt like he kind of got better at the game as it went on. And really woke up in the final, third of the game. And I'd want to see him come back and just get a second chance to show us that he can actually do it, because his second half of season 39 was really impressive to me.
Yeah, I like that. All right, I'm gonna hop back over to the girls, and I'm gonna go with somebody from this most recent season, who I was incredibly sad to see go home when she did, and that would be Genevieve. I think we've talked a lot about how we feel like kind of the people that actually play the best game of Survivor don't always end up making it to the end, and I think she fell victim to that. Um, Incredibly strategic, smart, and yeah, I want to see her go further this time.
For my next one, I'm gonna go back new school, and gonna pick Charlie Davis from season 46. He was runner up, and kind of a little bit of a controversy there with the final votes, with Maria switching her vote, even though she said she'd vote for Charlie. Charlie was probably one of the more strategic people playing the game that we've seen in a little while. He, I think, very observant, obviously great with puzzles, but he was probably one of my favorite players that we've had recently. We've obviously had some great ones, but he's definitely up there on my list. So going with Charlie.
Solid player, one of the better players of the new era.
Mm-hmm.
My next pick gonna be a guy sticking with the new era as well, and I'm going Survivor 42, and I'm picking Jonathan. Jonathan is probably one of the three best physical threats we've had in this game. Just absolute challenge beast. If you remember pre-merge, Jonathan just absolutely carrying his tribe to victory multiple times. Didn't have the greatest social game that you could have. So, if he were to come back in season 50, I'd love to see him kind of correct some of his social mistakes. But his physical threat, particularly in the early game, I think could be a real value to my tribe. So going with Jonathan.
Yeah, I like that pick. For me, he was the highlight of that season. So yeah, I like that pick. All right. Guy for me, I'm going to call an audible on this one. A little bit different than the direction I thought I was going to go. And that's going to be Spencer from Survivor Cambodia. So I was going to go with New School and Deshawn, but thinking kind of last minute audible. I really like Spencer. He seemed really young and a little neurotic the last time he played. And has he played more than once?
I believe he played Kagian as well.
Okay, that sounds right. And you could definitely see from the first one to Cambodia, how he kind of like grew up a little bit and kind of got a little more level headed. Um, and I would love to see kind of that again from him because I think he could be incredibly strategic because he's one of the smartest players that I remember.
I am gonna go for my final female, and this is old school again. Natalie Anderson. Her first season was season 29. She was the winner. If you guys, I'm not sure if you guys remember that, but she did have a twin, um, and it was pretty cool to see that. But Natalie was pretty dominant. Kind of was able to turn on some of her allies, play an idol at the end of the season to get her kind of propelled to the final tribal. And because of some of those moves, I believe that's why she won. The second season that she played in was season 40, Winners at War, but she was the very first person voted off in that season. So I think she would be a really fun one to see come back and get another opportunity to see if she can go farther again and see what she can do.
She tried to make a run in season 40 at Edge of Extinction. I remember that.
Yeah, she was first voted out, and then she came back in fairly late in the game.
Yeah, she
but
made it back in at that like final Edge of Extinction challenge to like
mhm.
get back into the game. That's a solid pick though. For me, my fifth pick, I'm going season 41, first season of the new era, and I'm picking Shan. Shan was a lot of fun. She was known for kind of being manipulative, sneaky, definitely a schemer.
Was she the one
Taking
that
him.
had the whistle?
She had the little theme song.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was a good player. She was fun. I'd like to see her come back and get back to her antics that she had in season 41 because she went pretty far. She was it was kind of her and Ricard were the kind of big threats in that season, and I believe she ended up turning on Ricard post merge.
I think that you're correct in that because it kind of surprised me that she did that at that point in the game. I thought it would have lasted a little bit longer, but
I just
yeah.
pulled it up. Shannon was voted out before Ricard.
Oh, she was okay. So maybe Ricard went after her.
She
Either way,
was,
she was a lot of fun.
Yeah, she was voted out 11th, and Ricard was 14th.
There you go. Oh, that's right. Ricard was 5th. He took 5th.
Yeah, he took 5th.
Anyway,
Nice. Okay, good pick. I like that. She'll spice it up a little bit. I could see her being like almost playing into the villain role a little bit.
yeah.
Okay. Last girl for me, season 39, Island of the Idols. I'm going with just somebody fun, just a good time. You can't dislike her, and that's Elaine, the busted can of biscuits. So she's just, I don't know, just a fun person to be around, and I think would make the tribe very exciting and just fun. I don't know.
I like it. That's a heck of a nickname. My last pick is gonna be Q, and I just want to see if he came up with the Q skirt, and that's it. No, I'm just kidding. I think Q was somebody that kind of liked chaos and was almost a little unpredictable. There's a few moments that I didn't love that, but overall, I think it would definitely add some spice to the game and keep it interesting. And he's such a interesting personality, and just I don't know. I think it'd be fun to have him come back with a different group of people. But Q would be my final pick.
I like it. My final pick is from Survivor Ghost Island, and he is the runner-up of that season. I'm going with Dom. If you remember, Wendell won Survivor Ghost Island. Wendell and Dom were 1A, 1B. They were, like super tight, super close. Everything they did together. Final tribal came down to a 4-4 tie between Wendell and Dom. And when that happens, the third finalist casts the final vote. Laurel cast that vote and picked Wendell to win. I think Dom was just as worthy of winning that season as Wendell was. I like Dom. He was a strategic threat. He had idols and he was with Wendell. I think Wendell was maybe a little bit better socially than Dom was, and that ultimately is what gave Wendell that win. Wendell had that connection with Laurel, but Dom, I think that's as close as you can get to winning without winning is what Dom did. So I'd love to see him run it back.
Not very often you see that tie and the other person having to vote, and I think, like you said, as close as you can get. But that I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, that is a good one. My last one is Jesse Lopez. I think, for me, in my opinion, one of the best players to not win, at least in the modern era. I loved everything about his game, his story, the timing that when he kind of turned on his number one was it Cody? What was his name? Yeah, because him and Cody were super close, and just the timing of when he turned on Cody, it was, I don't know, it was perfect. I was pissed that he didn't win.
Didn't Cody give Jesse an idol, and then Jesse turned around and voted Cody out?
Yeah, I think
that
so.
happened?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're still friends or if they ever talk, because they were like tight until the end.
Didn't Jesse lose the fire making challenge? And that's, am I thinking of that correct? I was thinking he lost the fire making challenge, and that was where he didn't get to go on to the final. Where if he would have won that, I think he would have won. But he didn't win that fire, and that's why he didn't go on to the final.
No, you're spot on, because he got fourth. Yeah. Yeah, that's an even better point.
Yeah, I mean that's Mike Gabler's the most controversial winner of the new era, I think. We don't need to get into all that, but yeah, Jesse was great that season.
Yeah. I tried really hard not to put I don't think that I did. I didn't want to put anybody on here that had won already. I don't know why,
winners.
but and I'm not against it. I was going to say I do have, like, if I were to swap out one of the guys for another winner or for somebody that has won, it would be JT for me. He was kind of the runner up in my list. I was just trying to avoid winners, but JT
from Token Jeans.
Yep.
I don't know if I need to see JT again.
I mean, he's played in what, 3 of them?
Played 3. He played Heroes vs Villains. I think he played Game Changers too.
He was Game Changers and then Token
Jeans. He was bad both times. He came back.
Yeah. Well, didn't he win?
He won 18. He won his first season.
Was it his first season?
He won unanimously because he it was him and Steven Fishback that went to the final, and Steven Fishback just completely choked his final tribal.
That's right.
Incredibly smart dude, but just could not convince the jury. Same with like Amanda Kimmel,
Yeah.
who played China and Micronesia back to back final tribals. Great gameplay, just could not speak to her game at all.
Yeah.
Which honestly, honorable mention, Amanda Kimmel.
Yeah. Just like
Eric,
yeah. Her and Parvati they just go together. So
yep.
I'll
it,
definitely
it
be.
was
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was tough, like looking through like all the names, and some of it's like, okay, I don't remember that name, and then you pull up the face, and you're like, oh gosh, duh, that's who that is. But man, narrowing it down to 3 guys and 3 girls, I mean, even for 18 people, I don't know. I don't know how production's ever going to pick on who comes back, assuming that it's all returnees, right? There's no new people on 50 that we've heard of, right?
So from what I've heard on season 50 is that it's going to be, I think everybody is, available. I think it's all going to be returnees. And yeah, that's an impossible task because it's Survivor 50. Like 50 seasons. That's a milestone in
Yep.
itself. And you're like, okay, you think about the Survivor greats. You're like, man, you don't think about Survivor without Boston Rob. But then you're like, do we want to put Boston Rob in Survivor? He's played 5 times. He's appeared in 6 seasons. And like, you're like, do you have Richard Hatch, the first winner? Dude's had some like controversy surrounding like his personal life and just Survivor. Like Russell Hantz is a name that comes up, but again, like the Hantzes are, so there's
Well,
a
that's
lot
why
of decisions to make.
That's why I leaned towards more of the new school, because a lot of people from the previous, because they did so many seasons where they'd bring back 2 or 3 people that had played before. So you definitely have some big memorable names, but it's like, okay, some of that, you can have a little bit of crossover, but some of that I think is just a different era, and
Yeah,
give some of the new era people a chance, I guess.
my thought is like, I think if you've played twice, that you shouldn't be eligible. So like anybody that played Winners at War, like automatically ineligible. Like we've seen their stories, and honestly, Winners at War kind of wrapped up that era anyway. I feel like there's a lot of people from kind of the mid 20s and even the 30s that didn't get a chance to have a second chance on because obviously COVID, they had to make a bunch of restrictions, change the game entirely. But even in 41 through 47, I'm like, there's a part of me that feels like 50 will be the first returnee season of maybe a handful of returnee seasons in the next 5 or 6 seasons.
Because there really are and obviously in just all of Survivor, there's so many great players. But even in the new era, like I very easily could have picked six people, 3 guys, 3 girls, just from the new era, and been totally fine with those selections. So I'll definitely be interested to see if they do have any old school people, and if they do, how many, and see what that looks like. But it'll be interesting to see that, and then I'll be curious to see how many of the people that we picked or would like to see are actually going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, both of you make great points. That since I started watching Traders, I'm a huge Boston Rob fan, but I'm with you. It's like, man, he's been on the show 6 different times, played in 5 seasons. Like, just some of the players that you love to see. Like, it's time for them to move on. So
yeah. And I feel like somebody like Boston Rob has moved on as well. Like he's playing the Traders. He's played Amazing Race. He's played Deal or No Deal Island. He's doing like a post game show for Deal or No Deal Island, that he hosts. So like he's just like a reality TV guy at this point. And I
Yeah.
don't think we need to see him play again. Like we
Yeah.
know what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
And so does everybody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, trying to balance the nostalgia factor and, who would actually make the game fun and interesting, or I think that would be the tough balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, like I said, I think they're gonna shoot season 50 this summer, so they've probably got their list mostly narrowed down, and then we'll probably find out who the cast is December
I would
this year.
think, yeah. Maybe at the end of season. Yeah, no, I guess that
49,
would
yeah.
make sense unless they start teasing it early.
Which I think is possible, but I know that they probably also don't want to kill like hype for 49,
Right.
because I think that's like the awkward thing about the anticipation for season 50 is like we got to get through 48 and 49, which should, be able to stand alone and have their own spotlight. And, season 49 is probably a tough spot to be in if you're those contestants, because they're like, yeah, it's all great, but we want to get to the next season.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see any? Well, that might be too close. Well, I guess they've already. Sorry, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. But do you think we'll see any returnees from like 48 at all? I think it'd be too late for 49 for them to do that. But
I think if you were, yes, I think you could. From
I think
48,
you could
I
do
think
49 too,
well,
because they're filming them back to back.
yeah, you would have to play, because that's what happened with Russell Hantz.
Mhm.
Survivor Samoa and Survivor Heroes versus Villains were filmed back to back, and Russell played obviously the game that he played in Samoa, and like it was just like natural, like dude, you gotta play again. So you have to play, I think, that level of game to
yeah,
probably be invited back that quickly. But the hard part about doing that is, and this is actually why Russell was so successful in Heroes versus Villains, I think, is them being filmed back to back. Like the players on on season 50 know nothing about the players in season 49
Mhm.
because they're being filmed back to back. So like Russell had that advantage in Samoa, like dominant game, horrible social game, but knew how to get to the end, and nobody knew that in Heroes versus Villains. So he played essentially the same game.
Yeah.
it's crazy to think we're almost at season 50. Like you said, I mean, for a show to stick around that long and have such a following still and continue, I honestly think it's continuing to grow. I think it's awesome, and I'm so excited for it. Obviously excited for 48 and 49, but I think season 50 would be really, really cool.
Yep.
Same. Yeah, and I, like you said, I definitely don't want to have season 50 overshadow the next two seasons. So I definitely want to live in the moment as we're watching those, because I mean, shoot, they could be the new best season ever. So
Agreed.
do we have the cast list for 48 yet? Has that been?
I don't know. I see rumored players. I don't see anything that is concrete. So,
Gotcha.
Hopefully that comes out soon so we can hopefully get our kind of our picks out again like we've done the past few seasons.
yeah, I feel like it'll be coming out in the next week or two.
Yeah.
That's got to. Nice. Well, I am definitely looking forward to it. And yeah. Do we have any mail, Brandon?
No, no mail.
All right.
Okay, if you have any suggestions of who you want to see in Survivor 50, shoot them over to us, and we'll make sure to kind of read through those lists on our next episode. And you can email us at themergefeastpodcast@gmail.com.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in, and join us again in 2 weeks. And go ahead and say goodbye, Logan.
Goodbye, Logan.